What up, you guys? This is your boy Currents FX. Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the 3 trading sessions. So, first of all, there are 3 trading sessions. There are actually 5, but we're going to be talking about 3 trading sessions because the other 2 they're insignificant. So, the first one is Asian session. That is the first one. Then the second one is London session. Then the third one is New York session. So these are the 3 trading sessions. The first one being Asian, the second one being London, and the third one being New York. Of course, like I said, there are actually 5, but the other 2 are insignificant, which are Tokyo and Sydney. We say Tokyo, and the other one is Sydney. So these are the 3 common trading sessions. Now let's talk about the opening and closing times of these 3 trading sessions. First one starts with the Asian session. It opens at 1 a.m. It closes at 9 a.m. Right? By the way, these times are in Central African time, right? So if you want to change them to example Eastern Standard Time, which is 6 hours. Central African time is actually 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time, so you can do the maths. You minus 6 hours for each trading session. Then the second one is London session. It opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. right? At 6 p.m. Then the last one is New York session. It opens at 2 p.m. right? And closes at 11 p.m. right? Alright, now let's talk about the best times to trade Asian session and the best times to trade London session and the best time to trade New York session. By the way, like I said, all these times are in Central African time. So if you're in the other country which is not in Central Africa or in Africa, you can just do the maths. So the first one, which is Asian session, the best time to trade Asian session is from 2 a.m. I would say maybe to 5 a.m. right? Because it opens at 1 a.m. There won't be a lot of volume. So you want to show up at 2 a.m. to around 5 a.m. I personally trade gold USD. I don't trade the Asian session. But if you're that guy who is looking to be trading the Asian session, I would say to from 2 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let's just put it to 1 a.m. You know, just for news. Just because the news for the Asian session they'll be around from 1 to 2 a.m. right? Then second, London session. I trade the London session. The best time to trade the London session, I would say from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. right? These are the best times to trade London session because you have to show up an hour before the session actually opens. Like I said, it opens at 9 a.m. So you have to show up an hour before. That will be 8 a.m. So that you also trade the news and you'll be seeing what's happening in the market. So last, the New York session, the best time to trade the New York session is actually from 1 p.m. I'll say to 5 p.m. right? I'll talk about this later, but these are the best times to trade these sessions. So if you're someone who's looking to be trading, take for example gold, you want to be trading around these times. Now let's talk about daylight savings times. It's on the right. Daylight savings time, right? So actually during this time of the year, news and even the trade, the Asian session open, the London session open, and the New York session open, everything at just 1 hour forward, right? So for example, if the Asian session was opening at 1 a.m., it would be opening at 2 a.m., right? And if the London session was opening at 9 a.m., it would be opening at 10 a.m. Everything at just 1 hour forward. Now let's talk about volume, right? Because the key weight when you're trading, take it for example, I trade gold USD. When you're trading ZAR USD, the key weight is volume. You want to be trading in the volume time. So here I'm going to be talking about the volume times. The time you should be in the market, right? So first of all, I want to talk about the Asian session close. That would be 9 a.m. We talked about this, right? That would be 9 a.m. The Asian session closes at 9 a.m. By the way, that would be also the London session. The London session open, right? The same time, right? And that would be the London session open. So there will be a lot of volume. It's actually the time when Asian session exceeds going into the London session. So you want to be trading around this time. 9 a.m. Central African time, there will be a lot of volume. I would say maybe from 8 to 9 a.m. It's going to be a lot of volume in the market. Then the other, so I'm just going to write this one, and this one number 2. The third time you want to be trading where there is volume is where the 4-hour candle opens and closes. So 4-hour candle open, right? That's actually when the new 4-hour candle opens, the other one will be closing, right? So take it for example, 11 a.m. The new 4-hour candle opens at 11 a.m. Then the next one, it opens at 3 p.m. Then the next one, it opens at 11 a.m. 11 p.m. I mean, 11 p.m. 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sorry, to 7. To 7 p.m. And the first one will be 11 a.m. Right? 11 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. So the fourth volume time that I want to be talking about is the New York session open, right? New York session open, right? Let's just put it in. The New York session open, that will be 2 p.m., right? You want to be trading in these times because there's going to be a lot of volume. The fifth volume time that I want to be talking about is COMEX. This is just an abbreviation which stands for commodity exchange, right? So you want to be trading, you want to be taking a look at COMEX open, right? That will be 2:20 p.m., right? Central African time, 20 past 2 p.m. There's going to be a lot of volume. It's actually the commodity exchange. That's actually when the metal futures and options market open, right? And the sixth volume time that I want to be talking about is the news. I want to talk about news. That will be actually 2:30 p.m., right? So at 2:30 p.m. there will be news, there will be volume, news. So the eighth volume time that I want to be talking about is NYSE, right? NYSE, sorry, my bad. NYSE, right? That's New York Stock Exchange. So the New York Stock Exchange candle opens at 3:30. So there's going to be a lot of volume coming inside the market. And by the way, 3 p.m. There will be a new 4-hour candle opening. So around this time, there's going to be a lot of volume. Then the ninth, which is the last one, volume time that I want to be talking about is the news. Right? The last news actually happens at 4 p.m. Right? So these are the 9 volume times that I want you to talk about. And you want to be trading around these times because there's going to be a lot of volume. Take for example, in the Asian session, the volume in the Asian session is less compared to the volume in the New York session, right? So we're going to say New York here, like so. So New York session, the volume in the New York session is more than the volume in the Asian session. That's why I don't trade the Asian session because there's less volume, and in the New York session there will be more volume. Take it for example, there is a range, right? This is a resistance, sorry, this is support to the downside and resistance to the upside. In the Asian session, the time it takes for price to go from here to go up to here can be 20 minutes, and in the New York session, it can be something like 5 minutes, right? Let's say this is something like a 50 pip range, yeah? This is 50 pip range. So in the Asian session, price can move from here to here. It can take 20 minutes to move from here to here. But in the New York session, it can take something like 5 minutes to move from here to here. That will be the 50 pip range. So that is what I mean when I'm saying volume. So that was it about today. By the way, I'm kind of raising FX, and I do live trading sessions. I offer free signals. You heard me right? I offer free signals, and this is my WhatsApp take 674 5033, right? That's 26378 674 5033 5033, whatever. Right? Oh yeah, I forgot something. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video and hit that bell icon, right? So that every time I post, you'll be notified.